Now, if you attended the previous ones, you know Sila and Saddha are just as important, not just Paññā. Without Sila and without Saddha, Paññā also can't start, or it can't work properly. So be sure to check out the earlier sessions also. Okay, Paññā. What's Paññā? Intuitively, we all kind of know that Paññā is important. Intuitively. We kind of know that without Paññā, not possible to realize Dhamma, Nibbana. And if indeed it is that important, then what it is, one has to know for sure. Now, Paññā is one of the factors that have been mentioned many times in the 37 Factors of Enlightenment. It appears actually everywhere. Now, this is what we're going to cover today. I'm going to define Paññā, explain to you what the term means. I will also give you a sense of what it does to the mind. How does it help you in this spiritual journey as a means of explaining why it is so important, and then how do you develop it. First, what is Paññā? Literally, it means wisdom. I prefer to use the word intuitive wisdom. What is the difference? You can have mundane wisdom, but you need a kind of wisdom that allows you to know where you are going and what you are doing in terms of the spiritual practice. Without Paññā, not possible to see Dhamma. But Paññā is not intelligence, it's not intellect, it is not logic. Neither intelligence, intellect, nor logic. So what is it? I tell you what it does, okay? Paññā, as I've said, is intuitive wisdom. What it does to you is, first, does three things to you. First, it enables you to know what is going on in the mind. When you have developed the mind to a certain state where you can see what is going on in the mind, there has to be a state that allows you to know what is it that is going on and understand it correctly. And what do we mean by that? Now, I'm going to just throw concepts at you for now. You bear the concepts in mind. Subsequently, they will come out again, and I will refer to them and explain further, okay? The first thing is, Buddha talks about Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path. He talks about 5 aggregates, 6 sense bases, Nama, Rupa, mind and body. These are terms that he would use consistently over and over again. If you attend Dhamma talks or you read the suttas, you will come across all these concepts again and again. If you have Paññā, that intuitive wisdom, if you have that mental faculty, it is then possible for you to see these states as they arise in your mind. You will recognize them. You know what it is and you understand what it means. So, for instance, we talk about 5 aggregates. So just talk something like 5 aggregates. Feelings. Then you say, I know feelings what? Right? You don't know feelings. Seriously, you don't know feelings. You know feelings, right? You know perception, sanya. You know vijnana, consciousness. Really? Really? How come not realized yet? Huh? I know. Okay. When you have a state of feeling, typically the normal mind will just call it feeling and they get caught up with it. If you are a practitioner and there is Paññā present, then what you would have is you will see feeling as feeling, an object, not something that you get caught up in, but just note that there is feeling and you recognized it somewhat detachedly. In the same way, we are always caught up with hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, so on and so forth, right? These are experiences. Look, you are all sitting on the floor. Can you feel your butt on the floor? Yeah? The ones who can't feel, try. Harder, okay? You can feel it. But until I pointed it out to you, you are not aware of it. So your consciousness was not there. Your consciousness is listening to, I hope, listening to the Dhamma talk and looking at the screen, okay? I hope, I'm just hopeful. Okay. Consciousness, when the Buddha talks about it, is being aware of that connection. I'm hearing, there's hearing, there is seeing, you are aware of the mind being on the object. If you have paññā, immediately the mind knows. This is the mental state that is taking place at that moment. The mind knows it. That the mind knows it is paññā. And just imagine having to catch it all the time. Knowing, understanding what's going on all the time. Paññā makes it possible for you to know it and catch it. Second, so you know what's going on. Are you then able to relate what is going on in the mind to the Buddha's teaching? Buddha talks about the Four Noble Truths. We all know the Four Noble Truths. Some of you could even rattle it off in Pali, so clever, you know, or Sanskrit, bloody clever. But being scholastic about it, conceptually understanding it, is not it. It is to realize it, to understand what it means as it happens. So you experience a sense of unpleasantness. Did you call it dukkha? Or did you call it, this is really not sure. Did you call it dukkha? Are you able to see that that is the first noble truth? And then can you see your mind pushing it away, trying not to experience the dukkha? When your mind's trying not to experience the dukkha, there is craving in it. There is a wanting not to experience dukkha. Did you even see it? And then at some point you gave up trying to push it away, you just accept it. Okay, what to do, just accept it, lor. Then that is the third noble truth. Did you see it? Being able to follow and see and understand. These are the mental features of the mind. Being able to spot, see, understand, and see that correlation between what you are experiencing and Dhamma, that requires paññā. And the point when you say, because I'm practicing in this manner, I can see the dukkha diminishing. My experience of dukkha is diminishing. You see a correlation between your practice according to the Eightfold Path and the experience of dukkha as diminishing. To be able to see that is paññā. Okay? And then, here we talk about making correct choices and decisions and how to do it. You see, as you live life, there are many things that we do in a day. In a day, let's not say a day, in 1 hour, there are many choices that we make. Paññā is when you know how to make the correct choices. Actually, I'm going to elaborate on all these subsequently. I should not have elaborated on them here. Okay. Now, this is how I'm going to discuss paññā in the practice. Okay? We're going to do it in terms of 3 steps journey. The beginning, the middle, and the end. What do we mean by beginning, middle, and the end? Beginning is when you decide to start the journey. Middle is in the midst of it as you are trying to practice and grow and see and learn. The end is when you finally realize, hopefully before death comes. Okay? Whatever gets there first. Realization at the end, okay? Now I'm going to go into each of them in detail, so no need to get too excited about it. The start point. It requires wisdom for you to even say, I want to practice. Because if you say, I want to practice, there are further decisions to make. And the first one is, I got to learn to control my instincts. And that's not easy. Because very often, when you find yourself trying to fight your instincts, you find that the struggle is even more dukkha, more painful than merely just caving in, right? But that's okay. That's only the start point. Start point, when you were a baby and you were making your first attempt to stand, that was the hardest. But once you get it, it wasn't so bad. Same thing. Dhamma is the same. When you first start out, very tough. But once you get the hang of it, after a while, it is just like that. It's not that difficult, okay? What is the use of paññā at the beginning of a journey? First, at the very, very first state, we're looking at having a basic doctrinal, a correct basic doctrinal understanding. What do we mean by just this statement? Start point, right at the start, even before you start to do anything. You have to, at the very minimum, see this. Four Noble Truths, meaning to say, you actually sit down and say, Buddha is correct. The very nature of life carries within it seeds of unpleasantness. It is correct. If you don't even see this, if you do not even in your mind accept that being alive, going through life, there will be many moments of unpleasantness. If you don't even see this, then this Dhamma journey that we talk about, you wouldn't understand. To you, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. Why do I have to act with restraint? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? Shiok, just for the shiok factor. Trying not to smack the mosquito that's buzzing around me, it's not shiok, it's tough. Hold yourself in, don't smack. You gotta hold yourself in. It's not easy. Or, why cannot I eat the last piece of cake after you have eaten like 8? Apart from the weight factor. Well, because there's so much craving, you're just going on indulging yourself endlessly. Okay, so seeing dukkha is just step 1. Realizing that the dukkha is the result of our instincts of craving is step 2. Learning to moderate your craving and then realizing that in the moderation you feel better is step 3. And the practice requires some sacrifices on your part is step 4. Having just this is what we call basic wisdom, basic paññā, okay? And not just that, having some basic impression of impermanence. Basic, nothing very complex here yet. To have this is what in the sutta calls samaditi pubbangama. Having the right view is foremost. Having the right understanding is foremost. This is foremost. Dukkha, craving, moderation, bliss. This basic correlation is foremost. You don't start from this point, you're going all over the place. So paññā, having this paññā, enables you to just know this at the start. Then, if you have paññā, you will say, okay, Lord, I can see dukkha, I don't like it. I can see craving, I don't like it. I can see that when I have moderation, I feel better. I think I want to practice. I want to practice. So, understanding in a very basic way your doctrine doesn't make it obvious that you will want to practice. How many of us has actually heard of the Four Noble Truths from a very young age? Now you how old already? Then right now we say, maybe about time. A lot of us have heard of it. Some of us even learn it in school, pass exams some more. O-levels, right? Pass O-levels. Huh? O-levels, yeah. Some of us, 5-year-old, 6 years old, go to Dhamma Sunday school. So good, learn all these things. But do we get it? Did we want to practice then? No lah. At that time, what's there to practice? Don't understand, ma? Four Noble Truths, I can rattle it off, but that's about it. That's a very superficial, conceptual impression. Very conceptual. So, and some of us, even though we understand, even though it makes sense, but then we will say, later lah, I retire first. Now I still working, cannot practice. Others will say, yeah, I got to look after family, have to practice, we got time. All kinds of excuses. So therefore, it takes a little mundane paññā, a little mundane wisdom to want to practice. So, you understand the basic doctrines, then you make the decision to say, I think I will give it a shot. Just these two already got paññā. Okay? See, you are much wiser than you think. Okay, now comes this tricky one. Now that you have paññā, you want to practice. No, just think about it. Those of you who have already started, who has already got onto the bus, okay? In the first place, got to find the bus. Right? If you want to practice, where do you go? Which teacher do you follow? What tradition is correct? What exactly did he teach? Monastery, temples, and so on, right? The point is this. When you first set out, you don't know any better. You may have read a lot of books. You may have listened to quite a few talks. In fact, you may be a serial talk attendee. Every monk come to town, you must check it out. Today got 2 some more. How to go? Lum jam pass, you know. So you have all these decisions decisions. And do you know better? You don't. But you just check it out lah. Try it out. Okay? Now, it requires some paññā to make sense. It requires some paññā to make sense of your options, your choices. It requires some paññā for you to be able to say, I think, and to dare to make that judgment. I think this teacher maybe not so correct. That teacher seems to make a bit more sense. Not everyone correct, everyone makes sense. Everyone saying different things, all correct. What is wrong with you? You understand? So, having the wisdom, this is all very mundane, having the wisdom to say, I think this one is correct, and that one, I'm not so sure about the doctrine. You think about it. You have made choices, yes? All of you, I'm very sure. How many of you, ask the right question, get the right answer you want. How many of you just came to BF and that's it, never go anywhere else? Well, you all went everywhere. North, South, East, West Singapore, check it out already. Even went to Malaysia, is it? Yeah, precisely. I mean, and is this your first tradition? No? Yes? How many yes? Oh, clever. How many no? Oh, clever too. Hey, you found your way here, ma?
Then how the rest?
The rest didn't want to answer me. They are too shy. They're still thinking about their options. No, that's the thing, you see. Very often, when we are new on this game, you don't know where to go. So what do? You check out anything that says Buddhist. Buddhist association, Buddhist library, Buddhist fellowship, good name. Put the name Buddhist in front, someone will come. Because if you're looking for something, this is where you go, right? Buddhist organization, give it a bit more atas, but a bit atas, people come, okay? Make it too complex, people don't understand the name, wouldn't come. Because they don't know what is going on, okay? Now, you have to, because unfortunately, being human, we are caught up with chemistry, charisma, style of teaching, all these things. That's not very paññā. Being drawn towards the superficial is not paññā. Being drawn towards the substance, the content, is paññā. Okay? Know the difference. So, paññā, very mundane wisdom, enables you to pick the right teacher, to chase after the correct doctrine, to know when to back away. Sometimes you can have a correct teacher, but maybe up to a certain level, and then you need to find someone else to supplement. That can happen. They're on the right track, but maybe they didn't quite teach all the way. And then if you choose wrongly, you pick someone who's actually correct, but your level, his level not same. So what he say you don't understand. Then you say he probably not right, but it's because you're not right. It requires paññā also to say, maybe I'm not ready for this level. Then go somewhere else and find something that you can understand. Okay? Okay. All of the above are mundane wisdom. You don't need special insight. You just need a bit of street smart. But that's still wisdom, okay? Why did I call something mundane profound? Because something in you tells you to go for it. For you to continue searching for the Dhamma, something in you must tell you, I have to go for it. I need something beyond just what's going on in my mundane life. I want spirituality. Having that sense of I want to go after spirituality, and it is the Dhamma that I want, and it is the Buddha's Dhamma that I'm chasing, that requires some degree of paññā. Okay? And this paññā that got you to chase after the correct bus and to go up that bus, this paññā is going to serve you well all the way to the end. You must at least have that as a start point. Without that as a start point, you don't even get onto the bus. Then you will be chasing around in your mundane world, just chasing around there. Okay? Middle, along the way. So I said the journey is to be covered in 3 parts, right? Start off with the beginning, then we go into the middle, and then eventually I'll tell you about the end. In this middle part of the journey, a lot of things happen. You start to go deeper into the doctrine. You look at different explanations about what you're supposed to do. And sometimes, in fact, not sometimes, many a times, people will get confused. So paññā enables you to navigate the practice, understand the concepts, and practice it correctly. You see, earlier on, I mentioned about 4 Noble Truths, right? And I said the very first step that you need to understand is dukkha. And then you realize that craving is what gives rise to this deep sense of dukkha. If you can learn moderation, you'll feel better. I said that, right? So logical, isn't it? By now you always say, logical, no problem. That's what I meant when I said deceptively easy. It's logical. It makes a lot of sense. Then what's the problem? Why is it entering the stream so difficult? Because entering the stream actually means you know these things. So what is so difficult about something which is so logical and rational, not difficult? Why is it so difficult? So that's the point about the sense that we're not quite getting it. We get it, but yet we are not getting it. What's going on? You see, Dhamma is not about understanding conceptually. Dhamma is in realizing intuitively, you realize something to a point that it starts to change the way you see things, understand things, the way you make your choices, your priorities in life, they start to change. But how does that happen? Let me ask you this. We do a bit of experiment. You're all grown up, right? Deceptively easy question. You're all grown up, right? Not you came from here, then you grow to here, right? Yes? It's not a trick question. It's not a rhetorical question. I need an answer. Yes, right? Yes. Meaning to say that you have changed. There was a time in your life when you were younger. Your priorities were different. People stare at you, you stare back. People stare at you already, you get defensive. There was a time you were very different. Yes? Yes. Who say no? Who dare say no? Everybody start looking at you. Okay, seriously, you feel free to say no. Okay, you have changed. Then the question is, why? How? Why did you change? How did you change? Did you change for the better? Or have you changed for the worse? Don't have to answer me. But the more important question is, why did you change? Can you think about that? I give you 1 minute, just reflect. Why did you change? Was it because someone took you under their wings, your mentor, and then because of the values that the person was teaching you, you start to change your mind about things? Was it because of life conditioning experience? You went through life, you learn things, you tell yourself things, you grew up. Was that because of that? Was it because you saw an event? It changed you completely as a person. Your priorities, your values, everything changed. The point is, when something sinks in, it changes you. You will look at the world differently. Dhamma experience is like that. Dhamma experience is not something you understand conceptually and you go off from there. It has to be something you experience. You have to see the Four Noble Truths as they operate. You have to see anicca, dukkha, anatta as they happen. And then you start to realize that all your assumptions about things, about life, about how things should be, all your assumptions are shaken and you change. It is that part that is difficult. For Dhamma to touch you in such a way that it changes the way you see the world, that part is difficult. And until that happens, until the Dhamma touches you in that way, and you change the way you look at the world, you actually haven't realized. You haven't really understood. You know, conceptually you know, but you haven't internalized the teaching such that it changes you as a person. Yet, it cannot be just feeling. It has to be understood. So to understand, there has to be a thinking mind. And Paññā is a combination of that thinking mind, the realizing mind, the mind that makes sense, the mind that knows what's going on. There's a whole lot of things that it has to do. So for you to be able to figure out Dhamma, you need that Paññā, that mind, to grow. It is not intellectual, and yet it requires intelligence. It's not intellectual, but it requires intelligence. It requires a thinking mind. Okay? So, I'm going to cite some examples by some of the words that you are by now quite familiar with. The word dukkha. We have said again and again, dukkha is a spectrum, a range of negative experiences. Yes? Yeah? So anything that is negative, you feel it, you don't like it, that's dukkha. We all have experienced dukkha. Yes? Who hasn't? Okay. Logical question, ma. Yet I said you need paññā to recognize dukkha. Why? We have all experienced dukkha. When people die, we cry. When people leave, we cry. When we're not with someone we love, we cry. When you hit and it hurts bad, you cry. See, not we cry, you cry. And yet I said you need paññā to recognize it as taught by the Buddha. Because we experience dukkha, we feel dukkha, we don't understand dukkha. To experience it and feel it, you are just caught up in it. To understand it is to see it objectively, that's all. You are looking at it and understand the nature, the features of it. It's just like that. You get to a state where relatively more detached with regards to both physical and mental pain. So, paññā enables you to look at the features of dukkha objectively. And as you are observing the negative sensations, you are also able to say, it's okay, this is natural, it is life's motions. And you are better able to hold up to it. So paññā enables you to know what's going on, understanding what it is, and then make choices. I will take this, I will write this, I will live with this. It's okay. Requires the paññā to say, let's keep going. Okay? Craving. All of us have craving, yes? You say you got dukkha, surely got hate craving, ma? So all of us have craving. What is so difficult about understanding craving? You will say, I cannot toss and turn by craving all the time. But, again, it's this thing. To be able to spot the energy of craving as it surges and not be caught up by the energy of craving. And then knowing that this is just an energy of craving, that requires paññā. To be able to do that is paññā. You need paññā for the mind to be able to say, I will sit it out with the craving and the dukkha. With craving, there's dukkha. For the mind to say, it's okay, I will live with it, I will not push it away, I will tahan. 忍啊，忍，不是忍，傻啦，忍 okay? That requires atong. Yeah, that requires paññā. The Hokkien translation is from him. To know something objectively, to know it, to know the craving, to be objective about the craving, to even know that you are being objective about that craving, all requires paññā. In other words, paññā enables you to know what is going on in your mind as it is happening. Paññā allows you, enables you, at some point in your practice, this is all part of practice. You see, our instinct is when something is unpleasant, we want to push it away. That's your instinct. You require paññā to tell you, wait, don't push. Live with it. You understand what I'm saying? Our instinct typically is to just push. When something is unpleasant, we don't like it, we want to get out of the way. This is your instinct. It requires you to have wisdom to say, I recognize that this is pain, I recognize that this is craving, it is happening right now, I recognize I must not push. Because when I want to push and get out of the way, that in itself is another craving. You know it. You recognized it. And you tell yourself, back off. I will not push. I will be patient. I will sit and wait with it. I'll wait it out. I'll wait out that craving. To be able to make that decision is paññā. And then as you are waiting it out, meaning you're riding the pain, you're riding that craving, your mind is busy noting the sensations and learning from the experience. How much you can learn from that experience requires paññā. What you take away from the experience, what you understand by that practice, requires paññā, wisdom. And then, at some point, if you successfully wait it out, meaning that craving comes and it goes, and you keep watching it until it fades, at some point you realize what you were doing, you were waiting it out, and your mind starts to feel better, you better catch it. To catch it is paññā. To understand and catch it, and know, you must remember it, is paññā. So the entire practice, how far you can go, how fast you can go, what are you doing in the practice, requires paññā. That's why paññā is what I call chief of staff. Okay? Know what is going on in the mind, seize and understand mental phenomenal correlation of Buddha's teaching, and know what to do about practice. Knows what is going on in the mind. Remember the part where I said it looks at the phenomenal, it knows this is feeling, perception, thinking, thought formation. A lot of us, when there is thought formation, we will run with the thoughts. We will just continue thought after thought. We are part of thought. You're stuck in thought. Thought is you, you are thought. That's unfortunately the way we behave. Paññā, if you are sharp and fast enough, it is this wisdom that enables you to say, that is thought. This is Shankara, thought formation. Don't chase. Paññā knows what it is and tells you the way to do it is don't follow it. So you need this chief of staff to tell you can do this, cannot do this, must do this, and why must do this. It understands. And understand the core. This second one is important. Constantly, in this practice, constantly you have to see the correlation between what's going on and the Buddha's teaching. If you don't see that, you don't see the correlation, you are not getting it. Why is it so important that you must keep seeing the correlation between what's going on in here and the Buddha's teaching? One, it adds faith. Every time you see the correlation, it increases your faith. Two, the Buddha's teaching is a roadmap. It tells you where to go and what to do. You don't see the correlation, you know which part of the map to look at or not. It's like going somewhere, you have, now, I know these days we depend on GPS. And GPS tell you turn right in 300 meters, right? Okay, in the old days, before some of your time, we actually have to look at maps. This is before the time of GPS and Google Map. So you have to look at maps. And in the map, you need to place where you are relative to where you are going. You look. The Buddha's teaching is a map. It tells you where you are, what you should be doing, where you should be going, how you should get there. So part of the practice will require you to know where you are, what's going on in the mind is where you are, how you should be practicing next, what you should be looking out for in your meditation, what you should look at. Paññā is what is required to tell you what to do. Okay? That's one part. Having basic understanding of the doctrine and knowing what to do is just one part. There is another part which deals with making choices in life. What do I mean by that? You say you want to practice, yes? Practice is not just sitting in meditation, So 1 hour, okay, maybe not 1 hour, 30 minutes a day, you are in practice. What about the rest of the 23 hour and 30 minutes? Yeah, the rest of the 23 hours and 30 minutes, what do you do apart from 8 hours sleeping? Practice, right? The practice must spill into daily life. So what it means is, in daily life, when things are not looking right, when things are not going your way, or even when things are going your way, you have to make choices too. Are you making the right choices? It actually requires paññā, wisdom, to guide you to make right choices by the practice. What do we mean by that? We always say that when it comes to sila, morality, okay? Why do we observe morality? Because morality helps to keep our conscience free. Why is it important to keep your conscience free? So that your mind is light and happy and therefore able to concentrate in meditation. Okay? Why do we observe trying to do good and not do evil in the practice? By now, it's not just sila, it's about the practice. Why do we want to do good, do no evil in the practice? What it means is, there are some things that we do which will take you further away from Nibbana. There are some things that we do which will take you closer to Nibbana. What do we mean by that? You see, if we gossip, simple things, sampapalapa, just talk, okay? Gossips. When you gossip, your mind shakes a lot. When your mind shakes a lot, try to meditate after that. Very tough. Simple thing like giving in to your craving, left, right, center, just giving in. Why is that a problem? It's not against any law, unless you go steal people's things. Otherwise, it's not against any law to just have craving. Only in Buddhism we say it's bad, but actually it's not against any law. Why is it so bad? Because by giving in all the time, you know you're increasing your dukkha. Number two, by giving in all the time, it takes you further away from being able to see the mind that goes quiet. Not letting go enough, the mind can't go quiet. You are further and further away from Nibbana. Having paññā enables you to decide choices down to that level. Should I do this or should I not do this? If I were to do this, does it take me further from Nibbana? If I were to do that, will it take me closer to Nibbana? Some of us, in very mundane life, I even make a distinction between mundane life and very mundane life. What's the difference? Mundane life tries to practice a bit lah. Full moon, new moon practice, Very mundane life, full moon, new moon. Got moon meh? Very mundane means they don't care, okay? Okay. We are living a mundane life. Not very mundane life, right? We are gearing towards the mundane life. Even in the mundane life, you want it to be happy, ma? You want yourself to be happier. To be happier would require you to learn how to moderate expectations. Moderate. And to moderate requires paññā. Just to know that you need to moderate requires paññā. To know how to moderate requires even more paññā. Okay? That's what it means. We understand why negative instincts are bad for us. We learn to tame the instincts. We know how to do it. Do you know why you're doing all these things? Why do you want to observe precepts? Why do you eradicate nivaranas? Why do you practice virya? Lesson 6 liao leh. Huh? Yes, to clean up the mind space. But why? Why do you clean up the mind space? For meditation. Why do we meditate? to bring the mind, to slow down the activities in the mind. Why do you need to slow down the activities in the mind? So that you can start to see how the mind works. See, we're doing the Buddha way, you see. Make it really fine steps. Why do we want to see how the mind works? Why do we want to see how the mind works? Sorry? Seeing things as they really are. Why do we want to do that? To get out of dukkha. Good try. To see things as they really are, when you see the things as they really are you then able to let go? Ultimately, it's about whether you can let go. Do you know how to? Do you want to? Do you know how to? It boils down to that final question. So we do all these things, so much work to do, observe precepts, eradicate nivaranas, practice virya. We do all these things so that the mind can go quiet. And then we can practice to see the mind, see it as it is. Seeing it as it is so that at some point we finally say, I think I can let go. Okay? That will be lesson 9 and 10. And conversely, we cultivate them. Why do we cultivate positive mental states? What are the positive mental states? Why do we have to do this? You all know why we cannot do the bad ones. Do the good ones? Positive mental states will create a sense of pleasantness in the mind. It keeps the mind light. When the mind is light, the mind can concentrate. That is why if you look at the 7 factors of enlightenment, starting from right mindfulness, then investigation of Dhamma, and then you have virya, and then you have piti, pasadi, samadhi. Piti, that joy. I always call it piti, rapture, right? Pasadi, tranquility. Samadhi, concentration. Piti is the joy that pops up, making you very happy. Sometimes another word that they use together with piti, sukha, happiness. So all these pleasant states causes the mind to be light, soft, better able to go still, okay? Now, what are Brahma Viharas, Paramis, meritorious deeds we have said before? Brahma Viharas, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha. What are all these states? These are states where the mind is very positive, very giving, very loving, very kind, and yet at the same time, somewhat detached. It has to be detached. If it were very kind, very loving, very giving, but not detached, you will also sob and cry. You get caught up, okay? Very caught up. Paramis are perfections. And actually, in original Buddhism, the old traditional Buddhism, they will mention of paramis but not listed down. Subsequently, you hear about 6 paramis in the Mahayana tradition, 10 paramis in the Theravadan tradition. These are virtues that people add on to say it is important as part of the practice. Okay? To want to develop skills, to elevate the mind so that you can have mindfulness and concentration. You can do mindfulness and concentration meditation. That's the intent. When you have paññā, you make correct choices, okay? And what I mean by correct choices, I'll just give them all to you. You start off by saying that I choose, I want to, I choose to do good, do no evil, because I believe that these choices will take me closer to spiritual enlightenment. You choose to do good. You opt out of doing evil because it's not the I'm doing it that matters. It's why I'm doing it. The reason why I'm doing it is because I believe that when I make these correct choices, it will make me a better practitioner. I can understand the Dhamma better. Same thing. I choose to give. I choose not to be caught up in things. I choose not to want so much. If I choose to moderate once, I would be happier. You know it. You choose to do it because you know the results will be like this. Okay? Same thing. Why do you choose not to lose your temper and just lash out? It's actually keeping your ego intact. Increases in you the sense that this I, increasing in you the sense that the I is just an energy. You learn to let it go. Don't let it stir too much. Same thing. Many a times we are nasty, we are unfriendly because of our ego. Many a times. So you learn to trim that. Ultimately, I choose to live wisely, to let go, to curb anger, be harmless, and in so doing, be balanced and happy. All choices made as a result of Paññā. You may think that these are just words, platitudes. Just words, Really? The time when you got angry and you are able to stop yourself from lashing out, what did it take? Fear of karma. Odds are when you were angry, you're not thinking of karma, okay? The only way you will hold back is because your love for someone is stronger, then you hold yourself back, don't bite. Or because you're scared, you bite already, they're gonna bite back. That can happen. But the best way to nail it is to be able to say to yourself, don't let it blow up. I don't need this ego blowing up. Don't need the ego blowing up, okay? The time when you choose to give rather than consume, it's the last piece of cake you love, or a pie that you love. It's the last piece. When do you give it up? You give it up? Give up already, don't regret. Give up already, must rejoice. It's a but it's a rejoice, okay? Give it up because you feel happy that someone else is going to be happier for the experience, okay? All these, when it is happening to you, when you are making your choices, at the point when you're making your choices, it requires Paññā. At the point when you're doing it. Assuming you know what you're doing. Some of us, we are doing it thinking that we should be doing it so that we are good Buddhists. A bit salah. It is not that I'm doing it so that I'm a good Buddhist, because that's also flattering your own ego. It's that I'm doing it because, one, someone else is benefiting from it. Two, it helps your mind to stay light. The giving up helps the mind to stay light. Number 3, the third thing. Paññā keeps us on track for Dhamma realization. I am not saying something new. You think about it. To see the Dhamma is very difficult. What do I mean by seeing Dhamma is very difficult? Because Dhamma is against instincts. You see, your instinct says accumulate is good. Gratify your sense bases is good. This is what your instincts tell you to do. Accumulate, indulge, enjoy. Right? Dhamma says, let go. Don't hold on to things. Chasing after them is dukkha. It fights instinct. It goes against instinct. So the very first step of seeing this Dhamma is already so tough. It goes against your instincts. And then there will be days, now, so strategically it's like that, now tactically, day by day. I got good days, I got bad days. There are days when I feel very tired, don't feel like meditating. There are days when, don't know why you wake up in the morning already the world is against you. You feel that way. And on those days, doesn't matter, still need to practice. Even more negativities to fight. And then of course there are good days. Naturally there are good days. The only problem is good days don't come as often as bad days there. For some of us. For others maybe not like that. But for some of us, good days less than bad days. Then what happened? You still have to continue. It is the Paññā, the wisdom, that tells you, be patient. We need to do this. We have to continue practicing. We keep going. It is Paññā that tells you, I will stay on track. And then the times when you go on a retreat, it gets very tough, I want to give up. You need that Paññā to tell you, hang on, don't go. Something good will come out of this. You need this kind of little nuggets of Paññā. This has nothing to do with realization yet. It is just Paññā keeping you on track. Okay? Realization is a separate story altogether.